Hello, everybody. Welcome to Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. I am your host, and today I got a very powerful exposition to actually propose to everybody. Is manifestation real? That's kind of the cornerstone of this entire reality creation idea. Law of attraction. Our law of attraction is the more fun thing and the more popular one because it's the very simple explanation of what's going on. But it does tend to fall under the 3D expression of what's going on. Like you think something and the thing popped into your mind. The thing popped into your reality. So it looks as if your 3D thinking created a 3D thing that almost seems as if it's materialization. That's not what manifestation actually is. It's just, like I said, law of attraction is the more popular term. Law of assumption is actually more aligned with what it actually is, as in your assumption is what your reality is. But even that can still be diluted into what manifesting is not. So we don't really know what manifesting is at this point, because we talk about this thing all the time and it's not necessarily explained. So from a 3D linear perspective, manifesting seems as if, hey, you want an object and you think about the object or whatever, and the object comes into you, it comes into your reality, or rather your physical self gets the object in some manner. It's not necessarily like that at all. For the very simple reason, it wouldn't necessarily not work or work if it was like that. Because why would your thoughts create the appearance of a physical object? It doesn't make any sense, right? And furthermore, if your thoughts did create the appearance of a physical object, why would there need to be any kind of unfolding for that object to come to you? Why would it not just happen? Why would it not just materialize? It materializes in the mind when you imagine the object, it just appears, right? Why does it disappear? You see, we never really question these things. We just take it for granted that someone explained it in this way, so that's what it must be. Right? That becomes our new belief, our new truth. Now, it doesn't actually make sense for it to be like that, and it isn't. Why would a certain object come into your physical reality just because you were thinking about it? Right? So what is it then really? Well, we often refer to manifesting as materializing, and it's not materializing, and people rightly argue against this. I mean, that just exists, right? I say rightly. It's not materializing because you can think about something hard enough, it's not going to pop into your reality. It might. I stand by anything is possible, including materialization, because that just simply exists, right? But typically when we are talking about reality creation, we are not talking about materializing something, right? Because if you think about a car in your driveway, it's not going to vibrate into existence, right? You can go try it, feel free, right? That's not how this works, nor is what usually manifesting is being referred to as, or at least what I am not referring to, right? So manifestation is actually the very simple understanding of something from the unseen becoming seen. Now, what we have to do here is really understand what it means to be seen. There is a vibrational creature, being, knowing, expression of source called Seth, channeled by a person named Jane Roberts, and this channeled identity being said, you are reality, you create your own reality, open your inner eyes. Your inner eyes are the apparatus your inner eyes are the apparatus in which you see. Because what you are physically seeing is only here and now. You know you aren't seeing into the next second, 5 minutes, 1 hour. You are aware of said hour existing. You know you are not seeing backwards into the past 5 minutes or 1 hour. You are aware of that 1 hour existing What are you really doing? You're creating the expression of that hour forward and you're creating the expression of that hour backwards. It doesn't necessarily exist in that way. You are creating the idea of its existence right now as awareness. You're creating the awareness of it, right? How are you seeing those images? It's either you are going into your mind and getting them, but the future ones haven't happened yet for you to remember, but there they are. Sometimes you get it right? Sometimes you don't get it right, but typically, what your next hour is going to be like usually. Right? You're just going to watch a movie, you know what the next hour of that's going to be like. You know what the next hour of that is going to be like. Often we just attribute it to remembering a certain version of reality, so this must play out like that, so it just does and we take it for granted. You know, or rather, you are creating the knowing of what your past was for an hour ago. You're creating it right now. So where in your mind are those images stored, right? We don't really question that. We think, oh no, it's chemical reactions, it's neurons firing in the brain. It's just, the brain is this beautifully perfect evolutionary step in biological computing where it can store all of this information. But where's all of this new stuff coming from? Why is this all even there in the first place, right? We don't really know. Why can we imagine such ridiculous things that are not physically seen? You can imagine anything, right? You can imagine a hippo being cut in half and then it's a kiwi or whatever. I don't know why I thought about that, but that's what it is. Right? It doesn't really matter, right? You can imagine anything. Why can you imagine that? Because somewhere in some plane of existence, that exists. Somewhere inside you, that exists. But does it exist in your physical form, or does it exist in your true form, which is awareness, right? And you can do this with anything. You can take any scene in your memory, like you're sitting in a chair. Imagine the chair, imagine under the chair, imagine breaking the chair into pieces and it's just made up of millions and millions and millions of pieces of wood, of splinters. You know that it's there, but you didn't go and put each piece of wood there. Yet, it is there, perfectly, pristine. I think the Bible has a verse about that. It's like, keep your riches, or know that your riches are where it's pristine, not where moths can get it, which basically means in your imagination, what you are imagining is pristine. It stays there perfectly. No matter how you imagine it, it stays how you imagined it there perfectly, no matter what you did or changed that scene to, the original one is always there, and they are both original. One didn't make the other. They were both there simultaneously. You can break a chair and you can have the same chair, but they're both their own thing. They always existed. You are awareness. So no matter what you are imagining from the awareness that you are creating the illusionary experiencing of it. That experience is a real experience, just like any other experience that you can have, but there's no difference between those experiences, because awareness is just everything. And you are everything, so you are awareness. So what now? As awareness, everything is working perfectly. And what you are doing as awareness is perpetually manifesting the unseen into the seen. You are always manifesting. So you don't have to try to manifest, you are always manifesting. I'm not sure it still does this, but if you put your TV on, especially if you have an antenna still, or if you have a radio even, go to a station, or you can just think about this, go to a station where there's nothing being shown there. That static isn't static. That static isn't stillness. That static is the continuous expression of what's going on continuously. It's just that there's no image there for it to output. It's just outputting. It's just outputting frequency. It's outputting that wavelength continuously over and over and over and over and over. There's nothing there. So we call it static because there's nothing there. But that static is actually its own image, right? So when you move your focus, as in you tune change channels, select something. Your self-concept from this knowing that I am the creator, I am awareness, I am not just this physical being, I'm not just a 3D physical being seeing, I am awareness, being aware of what my physical being is seeing in every moment, but as that awareness, I can see any moment in infinity. Not just time, I can see any moment in infinity. And you can really see this. You can literally just be standing next to the pyramids and you can touch it. And you can just know any kind of time period. Why? It's because you are all reality. The difference is whether or not you're choosing to believe that you are this actual awareness that's being aware of this moment. That's the difference. We very happily believe in our imaginational memory of something we physically experienced, but to believe in your imaginal experiencing of something that you haven't physically experienced, that seems to be a little bit of a tall order for us. So, that being said, what if belief is actually not a requirement? You don't necessarily want to believe in those fearful, doubtful things, but they happen quite lovingly anyway to you, right? And sometimes the unbelievable happens anyway, and you didn't have to believe it in the first time. So what then? What if you just made a choice to say, I'm going to imagine things the way I like them, regardless of what's going on? Because I'm just choosing that self-concept that, you know what I'm being aware of is actually what I desire to be. And if I'm imagining myself as that identity, I am that. I'm going to accept that I am that. I'm just going to assume that I am that. I assume that these opportunities and unfoldings are happening right now for me, through me, as me right now. I am awareness. My past is not solid. I don't think my past is solid. Every single time I think something is true in my past, somebody tells me something else, and then it ends up in an argument. So how can it be solid? If I can't even remember something, or I argue that so powerfully that this one thing happened and someone else is telling me, no, it didn't happen like that. What if that other version, that person is nothing more than a reflection of me showing me that my past has changed? What if my past doesn't actually inform my future? What if right now, who I say I am is informing my past and my future, and what's physically happening is a manifestation of my own knowing that my past has now changed, even though I can't physically see it. A friend telling me, hey, it actually happened like this. Or you see some news article where first you heard it went like that, and then you heard it went like this. How do you know this was the truth and that wasn't? You're making that story after the fact. You don't know that. You don't know if reality just shifted or not. Like, no, but obviously it was all this because it went from here to there. No, it just expanded. You don't know what the truth of the truth is. The only truth you know is your awareness behind it. So, what's happening is you are perpetually altering yourself as you see yourself. Now, what does that do? The physical version that you now occupy, the physical reality that is now seemingly being occupied by you is actually within you, and you are experiencing that. And here's the thing, where you are right now, in order for you to be, do, and have anything, as in this idea that you can manifest anything, what must be true from where you are right now is your ability to actually be pointed in any direction, in the knowing that no matter what I am imagining, no matter what I desire, I am actually in that frame of reality from this frame of reality. It makes no difference where I am physically standing to be where I choose to be physically standing, in the knowing that I am already physically standing there. That means every single point in your past, every single point here and now, every single point in any future must all exist simultaneously, and must also all exist in a way that they can be rearranged to get to any other point. I'll say it again. Right now, this point where you exist right now, we think that there is a past coming toward it and a future going from it. A past coming to it and a future going from it. right? What if every single idea of any past that you had all came to this exact point where you physically exist? And if every single point of past comes to this point, that means every single point of future must also come. What if that's happening at every single point anywhere? So instead of infinite roads coming to one point, all roads lead to Rome, and all from, what if every point is all roads leading to Rome everywhere? That means whatever path you choose, it simply already exists from anywhere. That's where this idea of, hey, you can't get it wrong, you can't mess it up, it's always perfect, because no matter where you are, you can always get to where you want. Because where you are is where you want to be. Where you are physically is exactly where you want to be, as long as you identify with the version of yourself who is there. But that physical frame of reality you are experiencing is a simultaneous expression of everything that you are simultaneously in every single moment. It has to be. You can't just be less than what you are in any moment. You have to be everything of what you are in every moment. And if you are awareness, if you are God, if you are reality, you are only ever going to be awareness, God, reality. You must be perfect in every moment, right? So every single point is a point of perfect intersection with every other point. So if you're imagine a straight line, and then imagine intersections. And imagine that intersection intersected with everything. So instead of having this massive web of reality, it's actually a flat, blank, white space where you can omnidirectionally go anywhere, from anywhere, because the timeline already exists perfectly, infinitely, for your singular choosing of experiencing right then and there. And when you choose to experience reality in that way, that is you having manifested yourself as the identity who is on that path, who is unfolding that experience, and your past matches who you are right now, and whatever is currently happening in your immediate reality is a reflection of who you are and the past that you have lived to be that identity, and it is unfolding simultaneously forward for your experiencing of who you say you are right now. Whew, that was a mouthful. But that's what manifesting is, actually. It's not about materializing. It's about knowing that who you are right now informs your past. Who you are right now informs your future. So who are you right now? The version of yourself that you imagine to be. You are on that timeline. You are in that reality. You are that identity. Whatever past you have must have rearranged itself for you to be experiencing who you are right now. You don't know how it shifted. You have no idea how it shifted. That's about it. I am your host, Reese. This is Rewrite Your Reality with Reese. Thank you all for being here. That was a different kind of manifesting video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the sharing as well. Grateful for that very much. TikTok page available if you want to see other forms of content. You want to see other another part of the community. Quite different questions they offer there as well. Facebook page, more people joining every day, getting bigger, quite cool. That's an odd sound. Yeah. Anyway, Facebook page available if you want to join and drop questions, ask questions, offer insight, read other people's insight as well. That's also there. That being said, actually, I'll mention it again later. Much love, much light, and I will see you all in the next one.